when your person is gone. Living through the loss of a husband or wife. There are losses that change your calendar, and then there are losses that change your language. Losing a husband or wife can feel like losing the person who helped translate the world for you, the one who knew your shorthand, your history, your rhythms. Suddenly, the days still arrive, but they don't land the same way. You wake up and for a split second you forget, and then you remember. And that remembering can feel like being dropped into cold water. You might be surprised by how physical grief is. It isn't only sadness. It can be heaviness in your chest, a tight throat, a stomach that won't settle, a fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. You may find yourself moving through the house as if you're carrying something invisible but very real. Even simple tasks, making coffee, folding laundry, answering a text, can feel like they require a kind of courage you didn't know you'd need. And then there's the quiet. Not just the absence of conversation, but the absence of being known in the way only a spouse can know you. The silence can be loud. It can press in at night, or in the middle of the afternoon when the world seems to keep going without noticing what has happened to yours. The strange geography of after. In the early days, grief can feel like a storm that doesn't move on. People may bring food, send messages, offer help, and you might appreciate it and still feel alone. Because what you're grieving isn't only a person, you're grieving a life. You're grieving the shared future you assumed would unfold. The trips you planned, the routines you built, the private jokes, the ordinary mornings that now feel sacred in hindsight. You may also grieve the version of yourself you were with them, the you who belonged to an us. When your spouse dies, it can feel like your identity is suddenly up for renegotiation. You might catch yourself thinking, who am I now? Not in a dramatic way, more like a quiet disorientation that shows up when you sign a form, make a decision, or walk into a room alone. Love doesn't disappear, so neither does the ache. One of the hardest truths is that grief is not a problem to solve. It's love with nowhere to go. If you loved deeply, you will likely grieve deeply. And that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means your bond mattered. You might feel pressure, internal or external, to be strong, to move forward, to get back to normal. But normal may not be available in the way it once was. What's possible is something different. Learning how to carry what happened without it crushing you. Learning how to breathe again, even if the air feels unfamiliar. Some days you may feel almost okay, and then a smell, a song, a date on the calendar, or a random moment in the grocery store knocks you flat. That doesn't mean you're back at the beginning. It means grief is not linear. It comes in waves. Sometimes the waves are towering. Sometimes they're gentle. Over time, you may not stop missing them, but you may find you can stand up in the water again. The loneliness that surprises you. There's a particular loneliness that can come with losing a spouse. The loneliness of being surrounded by people and still feeling like no one can touch the place you're hurting. Friends may care deeply and still not know what to say. Some may disappear, not because they don't love you, but because your grief makes them confront their own fears. Others may say things that sting, even if they mean well. They're in a better place. At least you had many years. Everything happens for a reason. You're allowed to need more than cliches. You're allowed to need presence, not explanations. You may also feel lonely in practical ways. The empty side of the bed, the missing second opinion, the absence of someone to share the small details with. Grief isn't only about the big moments. It's about the 1,000 tiny places your spouse used to be. When guilt and anger show up, you might carry guilt about what you said, what you didn't say, what you wish you'd done differently. You might replay conversations like a loop you can't turn off. You might feel anger at the illness, at the accident, at the timing, at God, at yourself, at the world for continuing as if nothing happened. These emotions can be frightening, especially if you're used to being the steady one. But they're common companions in grief. They don't make you ungrateful for the love you had. They make you human in the face of something that never should have happened. If faith is part of your life, you may find your faith feels both like a shelter and a question mark. You might pray and feel comforted, or pray and feel nothing. You might feel close to God one day and furious the next. There is room for all of that. Honest grief is not a spiritual failure. Sometimes it's the most honest prayer you have. What healing can look like without betraying your love. At some point, you may notice a moment of laughter and immediately feel a jolt of shame, like joy is disloyal. But healing isn't forgetting. It isn't replacing. It isn't moving on as if your spouse was a chapter you close and shelve. Healing can be learning to live with love still present, even when the person is not. It can be letting your life expand around the loss, not because the loss gets smaller, but because you slowly grow stronger and more supported. You might begin to create small rituals, lighting a candle, visiting a place you love together, writing them a letter, speaking their name out loud. You might find comfort in telling stories about them, not only how they died, but how they lived. You might discover that your grief needs witnesses, a counselor, a support group, a trusted friend who can sit with you without trying to fix you. And you might begin, gently, to ask yourself different questions. Not, how do I stop hurting? But, what do I need today? Not, when will this be over? But, what would help me get through this hour? If today is one of the hard days, if you're reading this in the thick of it, let this be a small permission slip. You don't have to be okay to be moving forward. You don't have to rush your grief to make others comfortable. You don't have to carry this alone. If you'd like support as you navigate the loss of your husband or wife, counseling can offer a steady place to speak freely, without judgment, without timelines, and without pressure to perform strength. You deserve care that meets you where you are.